And back with the semifinal matchups for the WAKA 2012 Peninsula Spring Campaign. It was tournament time. And like I said earlier, we had the top 4 seeds made it to the semifinals. So everything going according to plan for these 4 teams. So we had Kick-Ass, the #1 seed, playing JFK in the first semifinal. And 5 O'Clockers, the #3 seed, facing the #2 seeded Shake and Bake in the other semifinal. We'll start with who's at the top of the bracket here. No, we'll get to that game later because I'm tired just thinking about that game. Let's first go 5 O'Clockers. The #3 seed had a 7-6 triumph over Shake and Bake. Brent, I know you were there chucking the ball. I think we're all pretty much aware from social media that the difference in this game was really a Gene Efford, I hope I'm saying that right, Grand Slam. Efford, yes, I'm sorry. Forgiveness. That gave them the 7-6 advantage. High scoring affair, which you sort of expect from Shake and Bake, not so much from the 5 O'Clockers. The 7-6 game, exactly what you're looking for in the semifinal matchup between the 2 and 3 seeds. Once again, I was playing. I didn't get to see a lot of it, so fill us in if you would.
Yeah. Gosh, this was a good game. I tell you, it's fitting. The 5 O'Clockers, what an awesome season for them. But it's fitting for them to make the run that they did on Saturday, that they had to go through Shake and Bake. We ended their season last year in the semifinals. We kind of got up on them and just crushed them. And then, even beyond that, there's a lot of history between these two. Even though Shake and Bake's only played 2 seasons, there's a good core part of Shake and Bake that played with the Emperor's Club. And every year we were battling the Clockers, and we beat them in 3 finals. So for them, they're just trying to get back up to the mountaintop, and they have to go through Shake and Bake. And damn if it wasn't looking like it was going to be, it wasn't going to be their year. It was close, and they scored a couple runs in the first inning. We got out of a jam and limited the damage. And then our offense, like it was doing all day, man, we were just turning it over, getting base runners. Driving in runs. Scott Duncan, he banged one off the wall, drove in a couple. I think I drove in a couple. I mean, we were looking good. We ended up in the 4th inning, we were up 6-3, and we were in complete control of that game. And then the top of their lineup came up. And I had won the second inning. I had 3 pitches and 3 outs. So. Remember you were talking about your debut earlier? Well, I topped that, so it was the most efficient inning of my life. But
put 2 of those together and we'll talk.
3 pitches, 3 outs. But we had, we had complete control of that. And then the top of their lineup came back up with they had an out, but they loaded the bases, and then their cleanup kicker, Gene Efford, he came up and I threw a decent pitch. I didn't, I don't second guess. It was inside, but man, I saw, it's tough, man. I saw his leg just crank that, like his heel was like in his lower back, and he just exploded on it. And I was like, fuck, that's the closest I felt to being a major league pitcher, because like when he hit it, like my head whipped around, like, oh my gosh, where's that going? And our left fielder, John Lanieve, he tracked it back, and he jumped up, reached over the fence, and was able to get his fingertip on it, but he just wasn't able to bring it back into the field of play. So he kicked the grand slam. Just like that, man, our 6-3 lead became a 7-6 deficit. And it got a little chippy there. I mean, he's a young kid, so sometimes when I was 21 or 22 or whatever he is, I had my moments. He was flipping us off as he was rounding the bases. But beyond that, man, tip of the cap to him. He got a hold of it. But if that fence wasn't there, that's a fly ball. They score 1 or 2 on the sacrifice, and it's a different game. But the ground rules were established right away, and it just was one of those things where, to win a championship, you got to get those lucky breaks, and that wasn't all luck, but that was a break for them, and it was not a break for us. So that's really when they shut us down. We didn't have a good part of our, we had kind of the tail end of our lineup up, and we weren't able to manufacture any runs in the fourth or fifth. And that's all. We watched them celebrate as they went to the finals.
Yeah, I watched that, and I just was like, holy. Immediately I saw your head just drop down, and it's like, dang, that was a big game changer right there. You can see it. You can see it on you. But like you said, you guys, when you guys came back out to kick, you weren't coming off the strong part of your lineup. So, you did what you guys could, but it was fun to watch nonetheless. And I was like, wow, man,
it was a fun game.
That was really cool to see. Just I hadn't seen it this year, a ball get kicked over a fence. So, this is my first season with WAKA, and it was just fun. I'm glad I hung around all day to watch all the games.
Yeah, it's one of those one picks, man, that'll go down in history. It's like, what if that rainstorm didn't come through Friday? Yeah, we're playing that game at War Memorial. It's a different story. Perhaps, who knows? Anything can happen. But you tip the cap, and that's a fun game to be involved with, and that's that's why we play the game. If you're competitive, you want to go out there and compete. And 5 o'clockers thought they were going to roll over, but they never stopped, and they showed the heart of a champion.